Welcome back to Insurance Talk Texas. I'm glad you're here today because we're going to talk about something that affects virtually every single driver in the state of Texas, and most of them have it completely wrong. I'm talking about what people call full coverage auto insurance.
Oh, this is such a good one because I hear this all the time. Yeah, I've got full coverage. I'm good. And then something happens and they find out they're not nearly as protected as they thought.
That's the scary part, right? People are driving around with total confidence in a term that doesn't even legally exist. Full coverage is not an actual insurance policy. It's not on your declarations page. It's not in your contract. It's basically a phrase we all use that means something a little different to everyone who says it.
And here in Texas, that misunderstanding can be financially devastating. So let's actually unpack this today. Let's talk about what people think they have, what they actually have, and what they might be missing. And as always, if you want to have a real conversation about your specific policy, Schell Insurance is the team to call. They're a North Texas independent agency that lives and breathes this stuff every single day. Reach them at 972-423-4546 or head to SchellInsurance.com. That's SCHELL Insurance.com.
Let's start at the very beginning. What does Texas actually require you to carry?
So Texas law requires every driver to carry minimum liability coverage. The state minimum is what's called 30-60-25. That means $30,000 for bodily injury per person, $60,000 per accident if multiple people are hurt, and $25,000 for property damage.
And that sounds like real money, until you actually think about what accidents cost in 2026.
Right, it evaporates fast. Think about this. One SUV repair or replacement can blow right through that $25,000 property damage limit. And on the medical side, an ER visit, ambulance ride, a few nights in the hospital, you can hit $30,000 for one person before you're even discharged. If you cause a serious crash and you're only carrying minimums, your insurance pays up to those limits, and then you personally are on the hook for everything above that.
So the state minimums don't protect you, they protect other people from you.
That's exactly the right way to think about it. Liability coverage only pays for other people's injuries and other people's property. It does not pay $1 for your vehicle. It does not pay $1 for your medical bills. If you have minimums and you get in a wreck, your car could be totaled and you'd get nothing from your own policy.
Which is where the concept of full coverage actually comes in. So when people say full coverage, what are they usually getting?
Three main things. You've got liability, which we just talked about, then collision coverage, which pays to repair or replace your vehicle after a crash, regardless of who's at fault, and comprehensive coverage, which handles non-collision damage, hail, theft, flooding, vandalism, a deer running into your car on 380 at midnight.
And that combination is what most lendas require if you've got a financed or leased vehicle.
Exactly. If you owe money on your car, your lender almost certainly requires collision and comprehensive because they have a financial interest in that vehicle. But here's the thing, even when you have all three of those, you're still not covering everything. There are real gaps that most drivers don't know about.
Tell me about those gaps. What are people missing?
Two of the biggest ones are coverages that are technically already included in your policy, but that a huge percentage of Texans have waived without realizing what they were giving up. The first is PIP, personal injury protection.
Walk us through that one.
So in Texas, every insurance company is legally required to offer you PIP. It automatically goes on your policy, but you can waive it in writing, and a lot of people do at the dealership or when they're rushing through an online quote. PIP covers your own medical bills and your passenger's medical bills after an accident, regardless of who caused it. If you waive PIP, you have zero coverage for your own injuries if you're at fault in a crash.
And the second one?
Uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage. Same deal, it's automatically included. Texas requires insurers to offer it, but you can reject it in writing. And here's why that matters in a really significant way right now in 2026. Roughly 1 in 7 Texas drivers is operating without any insurance at all. About 14–15% of everyone on the road. In Dallas County specifically, it's closer to 1 in 6.
That's wild. So every time you're on 75 or the tollway or 121, statistically, a meaningful number of those cars around you have no insurance at all.
None. And if one of them hits you and you've waived your uninsured motorist coverage, you're left trying to collect from someone who has nothing. And by the way, that's not even counting underinsured drivers, people who technically have insurance but only carry the state minimum, which we already established won't cover a serious accident. One study estimated that nearly half of Texas drivers are underinsured for a moderate wreck. Half.
So when you look at it that way, your UMIM coverage isn't protecting you from some rare edge case. It's protecting you from a daily reality on Texas roads.
That's exactly right. And the good news is that Collin County, where a lot of our listeners are in Frisco, McKinney, Prosper, Allen, actually has a lower uninsured rate than most of the state. But those same drivers commute through Dallas County constantly. You can't just think about your neighborhood. You've got to think about everywhere your car goes.
This is why it's so important to sit down with someone who actually knows your situation. The agents at Schell Insurance do this kind of coverage review all the time. They'll pull up your declarations page, go through exactly what you have and what you don't, and have an honest conversation about where the gaps are. 972-423-4546 or SchellInsurance.com. That's SCHELL Insurance.com.
They serve all of Collin County, Denton County, and the entire DFW Metroplex. Independent, local, and they know Texas insurance inside and out.
Here's another gap that catches people off guard, especially right now with the car market the way it's been: gap insurance.
Oh, yeah, this one's brutal when people find out too late. So gap insurance covers the difference between what you owe on your car loan and what your insurance will actually pay if your vehicle is totaled. Here's the situation. You drive a new truck off the lot. It depreciates the moment you leave the dealership. If you total that truck 6 months in, your insurance pays you the current market value, but you might still owe thousands more on your loan than that check covers. Gap insurance pays that difference. Without it, you're writing a check out of pocket for a car you no longer have.
And most people think that's included in full coverage, and it absolutely isn't.
It's not. It's a separate add-on. And the same goes for rental reimbursement. If your car is in the shop after an accident, your full coverage policy isn't automatically getting you a rental car unless you specifically added that endorsement. Roadside assistance, same thing. These feel like they should be included, but they're optional add-ons that have to be explicitly placed on your policy.
So what's the right approach? How do you actually figure out if you have the right coverage?
You actually look at your declarations page. Not the app, not the ID card, the actual declarations page that lists every coverage you carry and its limits. And then you have a conversation with a real agent about whether those limits make sense for your life. Your vehicle value, your commute, your assets, whether you've got a loan, whether you've got teenagers on the policy, all of that factors in.
And this is where Schell Insurance really earns their reputation. They're an independent agency, which means they're not locked into one carrier. They can look across multiple insurance companies and find the combination of coverages that actually fits your situation.
That's a crucial point. An independent agent's job is to protect you, not to sell you a specific product. At Schell Insurance, the conversation starts with what you need, not what's easiest to sell. That's a fundamentally different experience than calling a single carrier 800 number.
And right now, with spring break traffic on every North Texas road, with construction season picking up, with accident rates about to spike, this is the exact right moment to have that conversation. Don't wait until you're standing on the side of 121 wondering if your policy is going to cover you.
Spring is also when North Texas hail season ramps up hard. If you dropped your comprehensive coverage to save some money over the winter, now is the time to revisit that. One decent hailstorm can cause thousands of dollars in damage that your collision coverage won't touch because hail isn't a collision. That's comprehensive and only comprehensive.
Perfect timing reminder. Schell Insurance. Reach out to them now. 972-423-4546. Website is SchellInsurance.com. That's SCHELL Insurance.com. They serve all of Collin County, Denton County, and the entire DFW Metroplex. Independent, local, and they know Texas insurance inside and out.
Let's wrap up with the key takeaways from today. Number 1, full coverage is not a real policy. It's a shorthand for liability plus collision plus comprehensive, and it has gaps.
Number 2, Texas minimum limits, the 30, 60, 25, won't protect you financially in a serious accident. They exist to protect other people from you.
Number 3, PIP and uninsured motorist coverage are automatically on your policy in Texas, but you may have waived them without realizing it. Pull your declarations page and look.
Number 4, gap insurance and rental reimbursement are not included in full coverage. They have to be added separately, and they matter more than most people think.
And number 5, with about 1 in 7 Texas drivers carrying no insurance, your uninsured/underinsured coverage isn't optional anymore. It's your financial safety net for a daily reality on these roads.
The bottom line is this: if you can't clearly describe what every coverage on your auto policy does and doesn't cover, that's a sign you need a real conversation with a real agent. And the place to have that conversation in North Texas is Schell Insurance.
They'll take the time to go through your policy, explain what you have, identify what you're missing, and put together coverage that actually protects you. That's what a great independent agency does. Call Schell Insurance at 972-423-4546 or visit SchellInsurance.com. That's SCHELL Insurance.com.
Thanks for tuning in to Insurance Talk Texas. Drive safe out there, Collin County. Drive safe, North Texas.
And know what you're covered for before you need it. We'll see you next week.